Hello YouTubey people! Today we have our very first indie review, which I'm pretty excited about. It's on a game called And So It Was, which was developed by Volume Up Studios. The way I'm going to go through this is probably different from what you're used to. I'm going to go through the audio, the visual, the gameplay mechanics, and just the overall enjoyability of the game. Starting with the audio, the background music and sounds are very simplistic, but it happens to be very clear and high quality sound. There's a definite good relationship between how the scene looks and the sounds of it, which makes for a very good experience. There's a voice actor doing narration throughout the entire game, and it adds a lot to it in my opinion. It's very fun and fluid narration that makes you wonder what's actually going on. The sound effects in the game also match up very well. For the visual aspects, the game's actually very simple looking. There's not anything too complex in the graphics, but it's all very stylized at the same time, and as I mentioned earlier, it meshes amazingly with the type of music and sound effects they have going on. Not to mention there is a ton of detail throughout the entire world. Moving on to the gameplay mechanics. The game is very hard at first, and it can feel so punishing, but it's really not that bad. The controls, although very simplistic, take a lot of getting used to. And by what I mean getting used to, I mean this game is super heavy on micro actions. If you've ever been a fan of StarCraft, or Warcraft, or any of those, this is the game for you. The story itself is actually very intriguing. You find out through finding these little papers throughout the game that are lying around, and they tell you pieces of the story. Now, you may not find all of them on your first playthrough, so it adds a lot of replayability just to find the rest of the story. There are also a number of different spells that you can gain throughout the game, as well as some other passive abilities. Every time you get a spell, you increase your mana by 1, whereas every time you gain a passive ability, you increase your stamina by 1. Now, normally, your stamina is going to give you the amount of damage you can deal. If you lose stamina, you're going to do less damage. However, there is also a merchant who is around, and he will give you a special passive ability, but there are negative side effects to it. One, for instance, is that you will do more damage based off of the amount of stamina you are missing. This means it's more okay to be missing stamina, but you're also going to be much closer to death to be dealing your maximum damage. The number of abilities and spells in the game make it so that every playthrough is quite different from the last. I personally find the shield is extremely helpful, as you can get hit a lot. But once you get the mechanics down, you can dodge most attacks, and you won't find the general enemies too extremely difficult. The bosses, on the other hand, might be a different story. After you get used to everything, the game is actually rather short. However, it's very immersive, and it makes you feel so just ecstatic when you actually beat one of the levels that you've been sitting on for a couple of minutes, just dying left and right. So the game is actually very rewarding in that sense. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. I thought the animations and the look of the game was just really kind of cute in a way, but as a whole, the game was entertaining. It offered a very good storyline, and it was honestly quite challenging. I died so much at first, and you probably will too. Thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please subscribe and give me a like. I would really appreciate it. If you guys want to talk more, you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys. In fact, I'd very much enjoy it. I will see you guys later. Bye. It can be very, what's the word, babe? For the visual aspects, the game's actually very simple, looking at least. Fuck.